Okay, well, I hit start streaming. That's fine. Do what you're doing.
Oh, sorry.
Do what you're doing. It's fine. It takes a minute before it picks up anyway. Start broadcast on Helix Rock Radio. What?
This is the content that the YouTube community expects. Anyways.
Yeah. It's true.
We just do this instead of a fancy countdown thing. That's all.
That is true. I mean, listen, I think there's something to that. I was always too uptight about doing the live streams, you know?
Yeah.
Our AC just kicked on, Jesse. Can you hear that at all? Do you hear any difference? Okay.
Nope.
It canceled the noise.
It did cancel the noise. Okay, how do I give me that link. Give me that link so I can share this. Is there not an easy link? Oh, well. Bear with us if you happen to be here. We're just getting started. It's how it does.
That's right.
That's how we do.
Yeah, go to my channel. There we go. Get shareable link. God dang. God dang. Well, we are also streaming on Helix Rock Radio, and I feel like people might be used to this type of high quality production on live streams, but I feel like this doesn't necessarily make for a great radio.
Well,
it's a service we provide.
Let's see. What's on your mind, the Grawlix podcast? Streaming now. There. You don't need to know what it's about. Chances are we don't know. Oh, that shouldn't still say Lunchbox Live, though.
Wait, what are we talking about today?
Pooh.
RoboCop.
Yeah, it's a great question.
No, that's not RoboCop.
That's not the only thing I've watched.
See, this is why I shouldn't even mentioned it like last time we did a live stream. It does say Lunchbox Live. Why does it still say that? It shouldn't. Oh well, whatever. You know what? Facebook, they don't know what's going on anymore anyway. What a mess it's been.
Yeah. The whole world's a mess right now.
It sure is.
Oh, my internet connection is a bit of a mess.
Which means mine is too.
What were we saying just a moment ago?
We were talking about opening being sucky, and then what are we talking about today? I think.
Oh. Okay.
You guys are talking about Dan to Dan and go into that movie.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Oh no, I was gonna say RoboCop. Yeah, last week we mentioned that we would not be streaming tonight because we're going to be recording an episode with middle-aged movie reviews, but that got pushed a week. So here we are live.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think the main thing most of us watched was RoboCop.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
But Randall and I also went and saw Dan to Dan in theaters.
We did.
And it was great.
Okay. Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix podcast live show. We're like post introduction now. We don't need it. But hey, Grawlix Nights, Grawlix podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
I'm Jesse.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about what we've been consuming a little bit. We did Dan to Dan Evil Eye, specifically is what it's called. Apparently they had done a similar thing with the first season, but Dan to Dan was not on my radar until after the first season was airing, so I didn't even know they did it the first time around. But basically what this was a weird recap or highlights from season 1, and then a chunk of the season finale episode from season 1, and then the first 3 episodes of season 2, which aren't airing till July. So basically, go to the movie theater and watch a preview of the next season of or a good chunk of the next season of Dan to Dan. And this was not on my radar at all, that it was like a thing they were releasing in theaters, until I seen it one day and was like, yeah, that sounds great, because Dan to Dan is usually visually very stylish and dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed like a good movie theater experience.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie, what did you think of it?
I thought it was great. It actually was a little less dynamic, I would say,
Yeah,
than the first season, but that also made the storytelling more cohesive, or like easier to follow, I suppose would be better description of it. But they still had a lot of like cool looking stuff that was fun. I didn't like that we went from a cliffhanger to a cliffhanger, but whatever. That's how it goes sometimes.
well, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, I was just gonna say, how did it translate? Because I'm assuming that you've watched most of it like on Netflix or on the small screen, and so how does it translate well to a big screen, or is it something that like I'll just stick to the small screen?
I thought it did. I really wish they would rerun the first, when they did it for the first season, because I think my favorite, I guess, action set pieces of the first season happened kind of like early on, and that would be great to see in theaters. But I thought it worked really well on screens. I was a little surprised. You can totally tell where the episode breaks are, because they didn't try to smooth it. It's interesting because they did smooth over, like, rolling from the last episode of the first season into the new stuff was pretty seamless. But then the rest of the new stuff, it was very clear where the episode stopped, because it would just like stop, go to black for a moment, and then start again. And it's like, oh, they didn't even try to like smooth over where the episodes stop and start. They're just like, yep, here it is, 3 episodes, blah blah blah, which was a little weird. But the show is very serial, and I think this arc, I'm assuming this arc is the Evil Eye arc. I have not read Dan to Dan, but I'm assuming it goes on for a little bit. The 3 episodes do feel very cohesive, though. So I think it was a good choice to do it that way. It did feel like it was one story instead of like 3 random episodes. It was very cohesive. But yeah. Apparently in the US, it did pretty well in the box office for what it was. I haven't checked it, but a few days ago, it had done over 5 million in the box office, whereas the first go around, I think, did like 1 million. Of course, people weren't like, the show wasn't really out yet, so.
Oh yeah, it hadn't hit Netflix at that point,
right? So it's doing like, in the US, it's doing like My Hero Academia movie. You know, they release several movies. Yeah. Those usually hit theaters. It's doing those numbers in the US, but apparently internationally it's not even close to My Hero Academia. So interesting.
Yeah, but My Hero Academia,
that's interesting.
A different kind of animal.
Well, it's just, I thought it was interesting that Dan to Dan seems, the popularity, there's a lot of US it's pretty popular here, as opposed to like My Hero Academia, which has a more probably mainstream popularity, which makes sense because Dan to Dan is pretty weird.
Yeah.
So.
And they say things like, you can suckle my teeth if or I'll gobble your dong if you suckle my teeth or something, whatever it is. You know, they say weird stuff like that a lot of people probably would be shocked by, and they don't care for it.
Yeah, but that's the stuff that won my heart.
I know.
I think that was the first episode, and as soon as that like demon witch lady dropped that line out of her mouth, I was like, the show has me.
Yeah.
And that was before the alien showed up and tried to steal that lady's banana.
Yeah.
So you got to watch the show, at least the first episode, just to
Apparently.
understand the bonkersness of it. Anyway,
It's funny to me because like what the Karate Kid movie is doing really well too. And so that's just showing you the Netflix effect, which is interesting because I don't think of Netflix as necessarily doing really well right now, but they still have apparently, that global reach that that maybe these other streaming services don't totally have that foothold on. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I know you watched something. You mentioned you watched something, and I was like, oh, maybe I can watch an episode of that. We can talk about it. And then I remembered, like, oh, I don't have Netflix. I straight up canceled it. Like,
oh, right.
And
that's
I didn't
true.
even.
That's true.
I had in the past put it on hold for a while, on a few months, and then what was it, last month? I had it turned back on again, and immediately like price is going up, and I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh yeah, I think we even talked about this on the show.
Yeah.
Like it really is getting to a point where it's like, unless there's really something of worth there, I've got enough from all the other services that I don't need this,
Well,
like even Peacock does a better job than Netflix at getting some things that I'm like, oh wow, that's on Peacock, and Peacock's super cheap.
And that's not to say there's not stuff on there worth watching, but I did have it on for a month, but it was also the same month I was like, let's give that Disney Plus Hulu Max bundle a try. Sorry, HBO Max bundle.
Is it official now? Like, has it happened?
I'm not sure the date.
I know that when I open up the app, it says it's coming. It will be. But
oh, really? Okay.
Still Max.
I've noticed the advertisements when they do previews for new shows, they've started its HBO Max logo back on the advertisements. So that's interesting. But so I had Netflix for a month. We watched a couple things on there, mainly because I was like, oh yeah, this thing's on Netflix that I wanted to watch before, and since we have it, we should watch it. But otherwise, like, I didn't watch it very much, and it costs $20, whereas I'm paying like $30 for that bundle of 3, and the weird,
it's way more affordable now.
Right, and the weird like one-off services drop out. Crunchyroll, stuff like that. Those are like $6, $7, $8 tops each. Mm-hmm. So Netflix $20 and like not really drawing me. If there's something I like on Netflix, it will either get canceled before the story's concluded, or they will drag it out for years and then break a single season into 3 release chunks, like they are with Stranger Things. Thank you. No. They're kind of a mess. Even
the way they did it with Cobra Kai was like this. The final season was like, this is kind of dumb, like,
right.
why am I only getting 4 episodes in a chunk, like,
well, Squid Games season 2 and 3 is season 2. They just broke it in half and then called the second part season 3. And you can tell if you watch it, it does not conclude. And it's like, no, I would rather them do a weekly episode, which they do for some shows, I think, a weekly, episode per week release schedule than dropping a chunk of breaking a season up in over like a 3-4 months period. I don't like that.
Right.
Although I guess if they dropped, seasons don't go that long. If they dropped an episode a week, it'd only go for like 8 weeks or something anyway. So.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
Yes.
But first, how are you two? The intro is a mess tonight. How are you two doing?
I'm good.
We're good. We're good.
Speaking of Netflix watching.
I watched something on Netflix.
Did you?
Yeah. Because we were prepared to talk about RoboCop and not anything else. I really didn't watch much of anything else. So today I was like, I should watch something. So started just like scrolling through my list of stuff, and everybody had kind of told me like, oh, you gotta watch this Twilight of the Gods. And I was like, oh, that sounds right up my alley. And then I saw that it was a Zack Snyder jam. And I was like, I don't know about that. But everybody was giving it good reviews. And so I was like, okay, fine. I will try it. And I gotta say, like, it's got all this, I mean, man, you could just like take the Rebel Moon imprint and just slap some Norse stuff on it. And you're like, man, I've seen this movie. I have seen this movie, but it's animated. So I mean, like, it's got some things that work in its favor a lot more than Rebel Moon did. For one, it's not 2.5 to 3 hours long per part. It's a half-hour episode at a time. And I
Right.
think that really, really works in Zack Snyder's favor, whether he likes it or not. The
Right.
man needs to be like digested in small chunks. Also limits, I mean, like the fact that animation is not a slow-mo thing. Like, you don't do slow-mo with that. You do like anime style quick cuts, and like you get dynamic action that way by speeding things up, not by slowing it down. Plus,
Interesting.
animation's expensive. Although
Yeah.
you could just do like a matte painting and just freeze on it forever, I suppose. But it's actually all right.
I was gonna say I've watched some anime that takes that approach too, where it's just like, because
Right.
animation is expensive. Let's just hold on this still frame for as long as possible. But no,
And
yeah,
then make
that's
some bird noises in the background.
right. That's interesting though. That makes sense. I remember you mentioned it today before the show, and also I like the attitude of
Yeah.
like, don't know what to talk about on Grawlix. Zack Snyder always provides something to talk about.
Oh man.
But I
Yeah,
remember
definitely always gives me something to say.
I do recall it was on our radar. I think back when it initially released on Netflix, but then it totally slipped my mind to ever check it out. Or after watching both the regular and the director's cuts of the Rebel Moon movies, I was kind of like, nah, I'm fine for a while.
That was my other thought, was like, it's my turn. Randy already shed some blood for us in that regard, so I can do this, whatever. There's only 8 episodes and they're half an hour at a chunk. I think I'm on to, I think I just started the 4th episode, so I'm already halfway through.
Oh wow.
Just something about having half an hour episodes is like, oh yeah, I can kind of dig this. But the dude has one mood, and it's revenge porn. Not actually revenge porn, because that's an actual different thing. But like,
Well,
it's
yeah.
all revenge. It's the only thing he writes. Sucker Punch was revenge. Rebel Moon was revenge. Even Batman v Superman was kind of revenge.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
it's all revenge all the time with that guy. Like, what happened? Who hurt you, Zach?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't think I'd ever considered that, but you're right. And if it's not, it was written by somebody else. Like
That's
his
what I was
Dawn
gonna
of the
say.
Dead
It's like,
remake,
it's the Watchmen, not his.
Watchmen, Man of Steel, written by somebody else.
Right?
I think technically Batman v Superman was written by somebody else, but he had his fingers all in that.
Oh, man, yeah. Why did you say that name?
Right. That reminds me. So I've been spending too much time on Reddit lately.
Oh no.
And I don't remember how. I ended up because there was a news story about it. I ended up on the Snyder Cut subreddit. And it's worse than I expected.
Still active?
It's still active. They are making headlines because there was a post. Like, what drew my attention to it was there was a post in which they were trying to actively and very publicly organize review bombing of Superman because they hate James Gunn because it's not Snyder. Yeah, your guy messed up. All right, get over it and move on.
Snyder stole a job from somebody before him. Like
right.
Snyder was the new guy at one point too.
Right. Well, so they were review bombing, and then they're like, go see it, and then spread spoilers everywhere. Like that was their whole thing, and they're trying to organize this whole thing. And then the mods of the subreddit were like, no, we can't have this. People are paying attention to what we're talking about here, and they shut that down. And people, online sites need things to write about, so it got written about. But
dumb move.
I ended up on a post on there of them talking about this whole ordeal, and it's r/conservative, except more pathetic. Like it's just the same, like weird us versus them, like irrational. I don't know. I don't understand. It's just it's warring over the stupidest things, which is not r/conservative, by the way. But
culture warfare that they've been in, like they've been involved in that culture warfare, or what is it? Identity politics for at least the last 10 years now. It's so silly.
And it really is, like, I'll say it. It is the most pathetic thing. It's mind blowing to me. With politics, like, people are evil, but with the Snyder Cut, people are just pathetic, just sad. Like, what's the point? What's the point?
Any of this, Star Trek is woke, Doctor Who is woke, any of it, the Snyder Cut nonsense, go woke, get broke, go woke, or whatever. Like the whole thing is so dumb.
There, not that I want people arguing about other things online necessarily, but there are so many more worthy dumb causes to spend your time arguing over than DC movies.
Yeah, there are even more worthy causes to fight over, but here we go.
I don't want them fighting over those causes because I know what groups they'd be in. Really,
that's true. I guess if they are gonna fight, like I like them wasting their time.
You know what?
A little bit.
You're right.
But it's just annoying. It's all.
I'm doing a 180.
Go ahead and waste your time on. You go ahead and you watch that you go pay for that Superman movie. You watch that Superman movie, and then you can spoil how good it is. Go ahead, and you're gonna bump up those box office numbers for that Superman movie for James Gunn. Go for it. Why not?
Go.
You own those libs.
Yeah, go hate watch it and then go talk all over the internet about it. That's gonna hurt them.
Yeah, it'll hurt them bad. Meanwhile, they're gonna get global box office numbers that are gonna be crazy. And help them do it.
And here I'm gonna invalidate in their eyes their whole opinion of my, or invalidate my whole opinion because I'm biased. I'm kind of super pumped for Superman. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I am. James Gunn. I know it's not going to be your typical James Gunn thing, but I got high hopes.
Superman and Fantastic Four both look super awesome. Somebody did like a side by side, and it was like Superman and Mr. Fantastic doing a knuckle bump, and it was like, yeah, I'm pumped about both of those movies because they both look like a throwback. You got Herbie and Pedro Pascal and the whole retro vibe of the Fantastic Four, and then you've got Superman going full ham with Guy Gardner and Crypto and Metamorpho.
Have you seen? There's a I don't know, maybe the last week or so it came out, or 2 weeks ago. The latest trailer for Peacemaker season 2.
No, I bet that's gonna be awesome too.
Guy Gardner, he's in it. Well, he's in at least one scene. Yeah,
Nate Fillions is. Oh, okay, all right.
With the bowl cut,
great.
The whole thing.
That would be great.
Peacemaker,
the interaction there is gold.
Right. Melanie said she'll go see Superman with me in the theater.
Sure.
I was a little surprised that she
All right.
agreed.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm not especially looking forward to it. Superman's not my jam, and he's got a dog. I mean, that's almost as bad as Batman having a cow. It's just ridiculous.
Batman did also have a dog, but you know what? That is overshadowed by Bat Cow.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
That's one of your boys, though. Grant Morrison made Bat Cow happen.
I know.
If it's outlandish, but also like kind of works, it's Grant Morrison.
Mhm.
I forgot about Bat Cow. I think Bat Cow
Yeah.
was saved from like Professor Pig or something. There was some slaughterhouse situation.
Mhm.
And I think Damian Wayne Robin saved him or was like, I'm taking this, or this is Bat Cow. I don't remember how it came about. But yeah, it's canon.
Right.
Bat Cow lives in the Bat Cave sometimes. I don't think you'd want to have a cow live in a cave, but
No.
Mhm.
Ooh, yeah, that's got to be bad for business, man. Give you all the methane that would be released into the cave full of
Right.
methane, like the guano and then the manure. Like, but that's a lot. That's a lot for a cave.
and cows need to
You
graze.
got all those computers in there. Like that's just a tinderbox. It's just gonna explode one day.
I mean, I think just having that much computer equipment set up in a cave, sure, it's probably cool, but the moisture's got to be insane.
No kidding. And there's like a waterfall
Oh,
attached
yeah.
to that cave system, like what they've shown.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Because it can't be easy to get to. Otherwise, what's the point?
Right. Although people strolling in there all the time.
yeah.
Right.
What are we talking about? We're talking about Batman now. No.
It started off as
We did somehow.
found its way here, but
I feel like, and this is also probably just like websites need things to write about, but I feel like the quotes I keep hearing from James Gunn about the next Batman movie, James Gunn seems like somebody who has a lot of patience, and he will actually respond to a lot of people on social media. But some of the quotes I've been seeing lately, I think he's getting tired of it, of the Batman stuff. And specifically, people keep asking about, the Batman 2 or whatever. And there was some, is it Matt Reeves? Who's writing? Who did the Batman? Anyway.
Yeah, I want to say it's some kind of Reeves.
It seems like James Gunn just has to keep reiterating, like, Matt's slow, but if you like the Batman, let him do what he does. But also at some point, I think he had some personal stuff going on or a health thing or something. I don't know. But the quotes are like steadily becoming more aggressive. I'm trying to see if I can, let me see if I can find some examples here. Of course, this is like Google News keeps.
yeah.
Right.
While you're looking that up, Google News is a piece of poo-poo because apparently sometime I looked at an alert about a what do you call it, embassy somewhere, and now it sends them to me. Sends them to me like every day. Embassy alerts, and I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I should care, I suppose, baby, but I don't. Stop sending me all these freaking embassy alerts. I don't want to see them because there's a lot of them.
Right.
Find what you're looking for?
Not exactly. The big article going around the last few days is James Gunn saying that Batman is his biggest issue with all of DC right now.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, I'm guessing how to introduce or how to like bring him in, because he says he's not interested in a funny, campy Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, the DC universe right now, the new movie stuff is a little bit more on the campier side.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't find the specific quotes I was seeing him about.
But in Batman world, Batman is the least campy thing in the Batman universe. You know what I mean? Like look at all his villains are all a little nutty and weird and out there, but he's still like big moody detective guy.
Right.
He is just like a bat though. So
I mean, that's just kind of always. The campy thing is valid. It's just such as the nature of comics, especially comics that have gone on for so long. There's different eras. You pick your era, and I think Gunn is going for, in some respects, like Superman. He's going lighter Superman. Superman traditionally doesn't always go super dark like Batman, or as often as Batman, but he's going lighter Superman. But he obviously wants a darker Batman.
I think they should do the boner era where everybody was just talking about boners all the time.
Right. The Joker's always, pulling boners.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me think.
Sorry, I threw you off.
No. Jesse, you ever watched The Bear?
The Bear?
Yeah. I
don't know what that is. No.
Okay. It's an FX show about cooks and kitchens and stuff. Chefs. Yes, chef.
Oh, maybe Holly watches that. I may have like overheard. Yeah, The Bear.
Amazing.
Okay, it's amazing. I've never seen it.
Okay. It's not typically a type of show we'd watch or we'd talk about on Grawlix. It's more of it's a drama, even though they say it's comedy, and it's got a few amusing bits, but it's like, one of those like dysfunctional family or dysfunctional relationships drama type thing. But I binged it. It's 3 seasons, and I binged it recently. And I just mentioned it on the off chance that you were a watcher. I want to say season 1 and 2 are great. Season 3 sucks. Season 3 is filler season. It's terrible. I was very disappointed. But overall the show's great. Yeah. But
I'm aware of it.
Okay.
I've caught bits of it in my peripheral, but no, I haven't seen any of it.
Ask Holly what she thinks of season 3.
Holly, what do you think of season 3? Mad at how it ended.
Right. It's just super disappointing because it's one of those things. So I liked it a lot. Obviously, I ran through binged through it pretty quick. It helps that for a big chunk of it, they're 30-minute episodes. And then as the show goes on, I noticed it started hitting 40 plus minute episodes. But season 1 I liked a lot. Season 2 was also great and kind of like went a little crazier in some respects. Had some really fantastic episodes. And then season 3, I found myself kind of like bored. And then it ended and I was like, wait, what was that whole season? What was that whole season? And I had vindication because I looked it up, and a lot of people were also upset. A lot of people talking about it being a filler episode. And apparently the creator, showrunner, whoever, they had 3 seasons set. They got offered to do an extra season, which I guess they floundered a bit on before deciding, yes, let's do 4 seasons total. But they clearly only still have the 3-season arc. So the 3rd season is it's totally filler.
They did a whole season of filler. Why didn't they just do like a couple episodes, start into the storyline, and then they like extend it?
It is a little baffling. Like, I mean, there's a few episodes in there that's like, okay, like if I were to rewatch it, which I kind of slowly am with Melanie a little bit, there's a few episodes in season 3 I would hit that are like, this character, like a little bit of backstory on this character or this other thing that happens with this other character. But like anything related to like the main plot, I feel like you'll totally be able to skip because it's characters just not making a decision the entire season. It felt like, it felt like non-sexual edging. Have you ever seen those like, Have you ever seen those? There's TikTok videos.
I was gonna go with like Dragon Ball Z and how they would
Okay,
stretch things
okay.
out, and you went there.
Because it felt like specifically I seen a YouTube video about some TikTok videos once, but there's like a series of videos, or I don't know, a subgenre where of TikTok videos where we'll start like, we're gonna like smash this cake or something, right?
Mhm.
And then they will spend like, it'll be like a 10-minute video of them like talking about what they're gonna do. Then they'll go to like almost start doing the thing, and then like stop and like, and they just drag it out so long and then never actually do the thing. It's like this weird constant tease where the whole time you're just like, you know. And apparently like they'll do that over multiple videos and never actually get to the thing. And that's season 3 of The Bear, where it's constantly like, it's just say the thing, just spit it out. And they will just constantly set up scenarios where somebody's like, and then not do it the whole season. And then the season ends and you're like, what was that?
Mhm. Well, none of them seem particularly open with their thoughts and feelings.
And
at any point so far.
And I appreciate that about the show. That's kind of where it's like somewhat realistic drama comes in with like, because people don't just like, they don't say what they're feeling. Things aren't wrapped up nicely. But season 3 pushes it to a ridiculous. It pushes it to a point where it's like, oh no, now they've pushed realism to the point where it's completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
That's because like a season of character building sounds incredible, but a season of like problematic padding kind of ruins you for that extra season that you shouldn't have took then.
Even if they wanted to slow the plot down to where, and like I said, there's a few episodes where I think it works okay because it is character building. But for the most part, most of the season, they slowed the plot down to nothing. They just kind of it's like, well, the idea is that they're stuck or whatever. They're just like doing the motions. It's like, that's fine for an episode 2, 3 if you want to get crazy. But then, do some character building or more exploring into the characters. But all the main characters just, boom, become stagnant. And the plot doesn't progress, and they don't progress or build or change. It really is just like holding.
That's where you do a bunch of flashbacks. That's where flashbacks would be useful, is like, okay, we're not ready to move on to the next plot. So this is where in The Last of Us, you'd get the big flashback episode that builds towards whatever your crescendo is. Which, by the way, when we did our episode on The Last of Us, I'm going to jump back to that for a second. I didn't realize that was the whole season. I didn't realize that was the finale. I thought we were going to get another episode. Nope, that's where it ends.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize that when we talked about it. It was like, oh, that was weird. So I guess we're going to see everything through her eyes now. No, not for a while.
Next season, yeah. Next season, you'll see it through.
What a weird way to end a season. That's weird. Day 1. The end.
Yeah, because it's jumping back, and then setting up. I guess the idea is next season is following her.
I don't care.
I don't either. I'm done with it.
No, she used to die.
Right, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Hopefully the monster will eat her, because apparently nobody else has the, boy parts to do that.
Right. If this was a Zack Snyder revenge story, stuff would happen.
Oh,
you're right.
It'd be slow as well, but
you'd have a certain group that you'd have to assemble, and then they could go get revenge together.
Right.
As an ensemble. Yeah.
Of course.
One of them's got to be creepy but pretty cool. One of them's just got to be like kind of feral, and one of them's got to be likable. One of them's got to be likable. One of them's got to be a roguish type. You don't know. And it's set in the Viking era, so of course he's Australian.
Right.
Zack Snyder, home runs every time.
uh, Last of Us is another one where on Reddit they have a Snyder Cut type subreddit for them.
Oh, I bet.
And that was extra frustrating when I discovered like the way a lot of them go about it is wrong and toxic. But they're not wrong about all things. Once I was like, I hit a point in the show where I was like, yeah, I don't like this story. I think this story sucks. And it's almost more frustrating when you're like, you're right about this, but also like, dude, you're also sexist and an a-hole. Like, stop it.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay that you don't like it. It's not okay to be those other things. Like, just stop. Just stop with this was bad and I didn't like it. The end.
There's a
review over.
There's a have you seen I'm not gonna dive into this deep, Melanie, but have you seen the It's Always Sunny episode, The Gang Solves the Bathroom Crisis? And it's all about like the men and women's bathroom.
I'm so scattershot. That sounds vaguely familiar.
Well, there's a couple times where it's them debating. It's the whole like trans bathroom thing. But it's actually, even though it's sunny characters, like it's handled pretty well, and it's amusing. Of course, Frank is like the most problematic in his opinions about it because he's the old guy, whatever.
Of course.
Yeah. But there's times when him and Dennis end up on the same side of the argument. And Dennis at one point says something like, I hate having you, like, I hate when we're on the same argument or same side of the argument, because Dennis will be making a point and it's like, fine. And then Frank will be like, yeah, I agree. And then he'll add to it. And it's like racist or something horrible. And
it's completely over the top. Yeah. It's and something only Danny DeVito could get away with saying.
Right. But the line specifically, it's something about like Frank is talking about, he's reading the Constitution, or at least finds some provision in the Constitution, and it's of course relates to some slavery thing that like probably shouldn't be in there anymore.
Yeah.
And Dennis is like, I hate the way that you use the Constitution, or I hate when you agree with me, or I don't know, something like that. But that's what it felt a little bit like with some of the Last of Us haters. It's just like, I hate when we're on the same side. I hate the way you use those points.
Yeah.
Anyway, this show's not political, by the way.
No. I feel like we say that every week now.
Just so you know. Because in this day and age, all you have to do is say it, and it's true. All you have to do is say it, and it's true.
Once upon a time, you could talk about anything, and it really wasn't political. And that's kind of how it should be.
Right.
Not everything has to be political.
Nope. Melanie, has there been anything else you've been watching or doing or consuming that you've enjoyed that you want to talk about? That's kind of what we're doing tonight, I think. It's kind of what we've been doing for almost an hour.
I don't think so. You
kind of what we've been doing for the last 10 years.
Pretty much everything that I watch, you watch too, or I watch with you, I should say.
Okay.
I haven't read anything really besides science stuff, which we'll get to.
Jesse, what Dimension 20 are you watching right now?
I was gonna say, you're gonna throw me under the bus on this, aren't you? Because you know the only other thing I've been watching is Dimension 20.
Yeah, I do know this. Yes, I've actually slowed down a little bit this last week, but you can't binge a whole season of a TV show and also keep the pace up at which I was going with Dimension 20.
Oh, no way. But it is interesting because, and something that is relevant to what we were talking about, and I almost brought it up earlier, was I sent you that video. I don't even remember the guy's last name, but it's Adam Ruins Everything. Is it
right?
holdover Hanover something. Yeah, his actual, and it was a interview with him and Brennan because they had just done the Hollywood Bowl, Bash of the Bowl or something like that.
Right.
Rumble in the Jungle. And I'm super excited to see that land on Dropout at some point. But I still have to get through junior year. So,
I'm ready.
Like that's exciting because it's like, man, Chungle Down Bim continues throughout all of junior year. But I'm getting to the point where it's relevant to what we've already talked about. Even Brennan was like, because that there's a room full of people and they were like, we should name it Max.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I love that he used that as as like a metaphor for something in the gaming industry, or for just like I don't even know what they were talking about. They might have been talking about the Upright Citizens Brigade and the weird politics that go into running a theater full of kids that are learning about improv. And
they really got bogged down in that.
Oh man, but it was actually a fascinating conversation. I was like, this is kind of crazy. I didn't know any of this. And I've actually been listening to the Upright Citizens Brigade manual on Audible, and Lou Wilson is on that. Like he's in the they'll do like little improv workshop like exercises. Mm-hmm. And Lou Wilson will be one of the either performers or the people that's like dissecting a scene through the improv lens. And it's kind of like, oh, that's interesting. So it kind of ties into what we were talking about. But I am pausing on Fantasy High and starting the first season of The Unsleeping City because I'm getting tired of watching like the behind the scenes stuff for Fantasy High, and they reference Unsleeping City, and I'm like, I'm gonna get everything spoiled, so I better at least watch the first season of Unsleeping City.
I noticed
so that's where I'm at.
I noticed that specifically during that time, like sophomore year or whatever, just during that time, or even some of the because it's the behind the scenes stuff for, and like their discussions and interviews for Fantasy High, but they are clearly like in the middle or just hot off of Unsleeping City, and I'm most excited about that. I did notice that too. In the future, like the adventure parties or Dimension 20 adventure party with whatever it is, like Cloudward Ho, their new series, which is coming out weekly. I've been watching that, and I think it's the same for junior year, like the more modern ones. They record like their behind the scenes thing in the dome right after, and it's strictly like about what they're doing there, and that works pretty well, I think. The only downside,
that's what I was used to with Titan Takedown, because that's what they were doing. Because that was the first one that I did, was a short, what do they call them, a side quest?
Side quest, yeah.
That was because it's only like four episodes or something.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's more than that, but it's like real short comparatively.
The only downside to that is you don't get Brennan's behind the scenes, like what he was going to do until the crew like sideswiped him and had derailed his plans, because he can't let that stuff out in front of them while they're in the middle of the game, because maybe it'll come back up or whatever. That's the only downside.
And he's not taking questions from the audience at that point either.
Right.
I don't remember that from the Titan Takedown, because it had just happened, so there are no questions really.
On Sleeping City, I think I did start it because after I finished junior here, I kind of bounced around a little bit. I did start it. I got maybe 2 episodes in, and then I don't know. I just kind of I'll go back to it at some point, but I just kind of bounced off, and
it gets better.
Yeah,
but it starts weird. It feels more produced. There's so much backstory stuff that we don't get revealed right away, and I know that's kind of his MO in some of these newer things, but it's like it felt untested in this. It was just like, oh, everybody knows all this backstory stuff, but we as the audience don't.
Right. Yeah, it is weird. Like, there's obviously like kind of extensive discussions with the players about their backstories. I've noticed that a lot of times they do come to, whereas Fantasy High, like there was a little bit of that, but that was so early on. Anyway, we're getting off into the weeds a bit.
Sure. But you know, I mean, like this stuff is it's amazing.
You know what else is amazing?
She was so ready. She was so ready. Fish?
Fish are, yeah.
Okay.
So a new study released by the Welfare Footprint Institute is pretty depressing because they developed a framework to factor the intensity of negative states like pain and stress and how long they experience them. So rainbow trout, which is the one they did this study on, and it's one of the world's most popular seafoods, are commonly killed by asphyxia, where they pull them out of the water and then they just leave them in the open air and they die that way. So this method delivers approximately 22 minutes of suffering for each fish. It's not exactly that, that, but it's somewhere between like 10 minutes and an hour. And they said 22, but
right.
So they estimate that electrical stunning could save up to 20 hours of extreme pain per US dollar of expenditure. So ideally this method should render them wholly unconscious until death. That's what they were kind of suggesting to people. And the Institute position is that a quick and painless death is the least we can do to show gratitude to the animals that keep us fed and healthy. So there you go.
So how would they do this? With like an electric net or like an electric
There's different methods to do it. Some of them are better than the others, but usually they pull them up and they have them in like a holding tank thing. So they would just have like electrodes that were attached to the tank that would just zzz them all at once.
Okay.
Is one of the ways they would do it. There's others, I suppose, but that's the one that they were saying would probably be the best because it's most likely to get them all and not and completely instead of just
so they really they really want to be efficient.
Yes,
is what you're saying, huh?
Yes, they do. Correct.
Guilty.
It's just they're getting better and better.
Oh man, yeah, I know. I just gotta hook you.
No, it's with the fish puns. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop.
No, I'll always come up with another line. I'm the real deal.
Oh no! I thought if I didn't say anything, it would stop. It won't.
No, God, no. I don't need a lead in.
Oh, jeez.
That's right. You don't gotta set me up.
It's admirable. It's admirable what you do.
Yeah, that's a word.
Story. It's just a feel good story, but I also read recently where some elephants went on a rampage in India and they knocked down like a bunch of acres of banana trees, but they left up the ones that had nests in them because they're nice guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
That is amazing.
Yep.
That is.
So that's not a science story. I mean, there was proof that it happened, but nobody was like studying it. It just, it
happened. Right. Hey.
Yeah.
You guys got anything exciting, interesting, whatever you want to mention before we bounce out of here?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
We don't have to get into it. We've already done amazing. I was gonna say Doctor Who news, but
do it next time.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know what to think about Doctor Who news. I do know that like Russell T Davies, like he usually does like a thing for Doctor Who magazine.
Yeah, I call him.
And yeah, and so now he's like, we don't know where it's at, so this is all I got for now. Stay tuned. It was like, oh God, what does that mean?
Hey, it seems like we're going to get a Doctor Who animated series for preschoolers. That's cool. That's neat.
Oh, right.
That's
right.
what we want.
Yeah. And we're still going to get that spin-off of Silurians,
How weird.
Sea Devils.
How weird.
Probably the worst probably one of the worst episodes of Jodie Whittaker's run.
Weird decisions all around. Okay, that's pretty much it. That was pretty much all the Doctor Who news stuff.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for listening and watching. Tomorrow night, most likely I will be doing the Edge of the Abyss thing on Helix Rock Radio. So if you like extreme metal, tune in.
And I'm glad you said that, because I forgot. Because we were going to take this week off because we were going to be recording with someone else. So next week we will be not here.
Yes,
we will be there.
No stream next week. I hope we gave you all the content you needed to tide you over till.
That's right. That's right.
Come back again. So if we're not doing it next week, July 3rd will be possibly the next. We'll see what happens. We don't plan that far ahead. Okay, before we bounce out, there was something. I feel like we need a gimmick. I feel like we need a gimmick
for the Grawlix or for this upcoming show.
No, for Grawlix. At least like maybe during the summer. We feel very listless and like we don't know what we're doing.
We are. We don't.
I have my gimmick.
That is our gimmick.
You have you're right. You know what? What am I doing? I'm overthinking things.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's
like
summer.
what do you want to do? You want to like we every once in a while we get funky with it and we throw a lunchbox on it. Every once in a while we get funky and we throw some saxophone on it.
You know what? You're right.
That's our we just slap a Grawlix on whatever we're doing. That's all we do.
That's true. And we do whatever we want.
Yeah,
we're not.
We could do like a special. We could do a summer special since we haven't had a special in a while. I don't know.
You're right. And really, any episode could be a special if we say it is.
That's right. We would just call it the midsummer. We call it midsummer. We don't even call it a special. We just call it midsummer.
I like Melanie's idea of doing it from a pool. She'll just call in from a pool.
Yeah.
She'll be like 3 beverages deep.
It reminds me of like this idea. I swear every couple of years pops in my head. I'm like, we should do like a pizza party. But then I'm like, just us sitting there on stream.
Oh God.
That'll be great. That'll be really entertaining. People want to hear us chomping on pizza.
That made me think of the latest Daily Show episode, because like was it Jon Stewart he only shows up on Mondays now, right? So this week, with the news being what it was, he was like, there's so much here. This isn't my usual, but we're going to take an intermission. And he gets out like a sandwich and he gets out like a bunch of like airplane shooters so that he can get, as intoxicated as possible before he's got to dig into the really dark stuff. But like it was a great bit, but even the bit, like him having a potato chip, was like, oh no, I could hear it in the way that he was trying to talk. He still had food in his mouth, like,
right,
he was like trying to race through this whole intermission bit. And it was funny. It was a good idea, but it was like, ooh, that is the bit that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Right.
Sound wise.
And it's not pleasant. Nobody wants to hear that.
No. I was like, and I had seen clips of it without seeing that bit. Like I had gone back and watched like the full cold open into the segment, but earlier I had seen just a clip of the segment. So I was like, what's going on with Jon Stewart? Is he kind of slurring? What's going on with this?
Right.
I was like, he's getting food. Yeah, I was like, oh no, there's something going on with him. I hope he's okay. And then after I had context, I was like, oh, he still had food in his mouth. Plus potato chips, man. Like that'll get stuck in your teeth and that'll just come out later, and like they'll also dry your mouth out. So
thankfully
it was a bad choice.
And I say this, we're going to encounter it now. That's like a podcasting cardinal sin that fortunately I have not encountered too often doing podcast editing. And I've literally edited a show where the dude got up and went and took a pee while on the show, holding his phone that he was calling in from the whole time. And it was a video podcast.
no.
So like people are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we can clearly see that you got up, went to the bathroom, and we can hear it. What are you doing?
Mhm.
How do you edit something like that? Do you just like jump cut it and just focus on the host while he's doing that?
You try to like, yeah. That's what I tried to do. I think and I tried to cut around it. Like, it's one of those shows where I don't think what the guests, nothing that any of them said was that important anyway. So I probably tried to cut as much out that was not like essential in that moment. But that's also a show that I ended up dropping because they were anti-vaxxer types, and there was a lot of stuff in that show that I was like, I don't want to be involved with this at all. I ended up dropping that show.
Right.
Yeah.
Trash. But I was about to say, but they didn't eat on the podcast. That's wrong. There was an episode where one guy went out and he had he's on phones, of course. There's no higher quality way to record your podcast than on a phone. I want to channel David Lynch for a moment. It's such a sadness.
Yep.
But a dude went out and like was picking tomatoes and eating tomatoes. Like,
man,
that show was a hot mess.
Is there a grosser fruit to be eating on a microphone?
Right.
Than a tomato. Like garden fresh too, so like extra juicy, probably.
Yep. Repugnant. All right. You know what? I think we should open Grawlix episodes with like podcast horror stories, just so that anything that follows that we do, like, there's a bar. It's like, you know what? We could be that.
Yeah.
We could be that.
Hey, that could be our new gimmick. Yeah. That could be our new gimmick. Instead of future predictions, it'll just be horror stories of the past.
Right. This week I was working on an episode, and I wouldn't do it. If any client in the future ever somehow hears this, I would not do it. And trust me, there's been plenty of times where I wanted to like create a burner YouTube account so I could go leave comments on some of these things I've edited. But there's like an episode I wanted to leave a comment. Of course I won't. Where it's just like, here, I can ruin this episode for every listener with one word. And then once you point it out, like you can't unhear it. Some people, the people that you think would be the best speakers are the worst podcasters.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I've noticed that with audiobooks too. You know, it's like they might be a really good podcaster, but then you get them reading their own audiobook and it's like, God, you are not good at this. How are you not good at this? You talk every day. It's your job.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. The like being able to just talk off the top of your head or have a conversation versus like reading a thing are kind of different skills.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's close this down now.
Melanie wants off here so bad. The worst is like the worst of both worlds is you get the podcaster who's not good at conversation or off the top. So he writes all his questions or even has a teleprompter and also sucks at reading. Reading them. Like
can't read words. Like stumbles over it.
Might have one of those. You did not be talking about these things. Hey, let's end the stream. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye.